Happy Valentine's Day, Internet! It's time for our very first Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Rewritten Holiday Special! Everyone please give a huge shout out to Aiden Frost for the comment, "Give us some romance in the series!" Sorry, Aiden, that's just what your voice sounds like in my head. But what a great idea! I'm recently single for the first time in 3 years, and what better way to celebrate the most romantic Hallmark holiday than by spending it with all you lovely people in the wonderful world of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Today's special will cover exactly one episode of the rewrite, and if you've read the title, you already know that love is in the air at Duel Academy. When we last left off, things on the island had turned upside down as the Shadow Rider Camula launched a vicious attack on Blair and the Truesdale brothers in the name of reclaiming the Shadow Charm mask from Professor Lyman Banner. Suspicious of their teacher's enigmatic nature, Jaden and Alexis began to investigate him, finding a strange emerald tablet in his room that accidentally sent them careening through dimensions and into a strange new world. While there, the two students were discovered by Alexis's long-lost brother, Atticus, and the vile monster spirit, Tragoidia. The trio managed to escape Tragoidia and return to Duel Academy, only to find Camula about to prey on a weakened Professor Banner. Jaden stepped in between the two and was drawn into a shadow game with the vampire, vanquishing her and saving the day with some help from the professor. The group is left to wonder what the professor knows about what's going on, but they are unable to ask him as his usage of the Shadow Charm mask has left him in a comatose state. And that brings us to today's episode. Episode 16 of the series begins with the one, the only, Chaz Princeton. He sits in the Obelisk dorm lobby on a pleasant Saturday afternoon, hanging out with some of the other students in his class. They're interrupted, however, when his cell phone rings and he recognizes his brother's phone number. Chaz stares at the ringing phone for a long moment before he chooses to ignore the call and excuses himself from the group. When he steps outside, he begins to pace in frustration for a few moments before his phone starts to ring again. In a panicked anger, he hurls it at the wall, smashing it to pieces and yelling at the damn thing to just leave him alone. He breathes heavily for a moment before turning to see that Alexis is standing there, having seen his entire outburst. He makes some excuse about the piece of junk not working right, but Alexis certainly isn't buying that obvious lie for a second. She asks him if he's alright. He quickly replies that he's fine and tries to change the subject, asking how her brother's doing. She answers that Nurse Fontaine won't let him out of the infirmary quite yet, and that he's going a bit stir-crazy, but she's grateful to have him back. Chaz makes a sour remark about wishing he could be happy to see his brothers, and Alexis regards him curiously for a moment, and then she asks him to go on a walk with her. Over at the Slifer dorm, Jaden is taking a midday nap while Cyrus sits at his desk, reading How to Be Successful in Love and Dueling, an autobiography by My Valentine. He takes notes as he reads, but quickly hides the book when there's a knock at the door. When he answers it, Blair is standing there, and she tells Cyrus that he's going to help her with something and that he should go get his cards. Cyrus agrees and asks what she needs help with the Slifer girl replying that she wants to make a new deck after that vampire witch beat her last time. Her friend points out that she wouldn't have lost that duel if she hadn't been protecting him, to which Blair replies that that's why they both need new cards. Their conversation is loud enough to wake up Jaden, who drops down from his bunk and politely asks them to take it outside so that he can get some shut-eye. They apologize and take off, leaving Jaden by himself. Yawning, he goes into the bathroom and splashes some cold water on his face. But when he looks up in the mirror, he sees someone standing in the reflection behind him.
Jaden? Where did you go? I couldn't find you.
Jaden spins around, but there's no one there. Oh no, not again. Not here, he whimpers in sudden terror. Jaden runs back into the dorm and opens his drawer. There are two decks inside, his Elemental Hero deck and the old deck that he used before coming to Duel Academy. He picks up the old one and runs out of the room. Down near the beach, Alexis and Chaz are still walking with one another. She's just finished telling him the story of how they rescued Atticus, which he says is a lot to take in and kinda hard to believe. It's also clear that he's getting jealous every time she mentions Jaden, which she does not fail to notice. He makes a comment about his brothers not caring if he disappeared like Atticus, and Alexis finally stops, demanding to know what the deal with his brothers is. Chaz clams up again, and Alexis finally makes him a wager. She's gonna duel him, and if she wins, he's going to tell her what's wrong. He accepts, but he does make a counter wager. If he wins, she has to go on a date with him. Alexis rolls her eyes at the bet, but confidently agrees to it. They power up their duel discs, slot their decks, and the game is on. Back outside the Slifer dorm, Cyrus and Blair are sitting in the grass, a bunch of cards spread out between them. They go over a variety of strategies that Blair could use to build a new deck with the options in front of her. And even Cyrus isn't too thick to notice when Blair suggests a combo using Maiden in Love, Cupid's Kiss, and Happy Marriage. She asks him what he thinks, and he considers it for a moment before asking, why does she really want to give up her witchcrafters? Blair admits that she's been feeling kinda messed up since their duel with Camula. She remembers how awful it was to be the vampire's thrall, even for a few minutes, and that it must have been so much worse for Cyrus, who was with her for over a day. She's felt really scared since then. She wants a deck that she can really use to protect herself with, especially since these shadow games have started happening around campus. Cyrus lays out a combo of his own cards in front of her, showing how he can use Express Roid and Ambulance Roid's effects in combination with one another in order to summon stronger monsters like Armoroid. Blair comments that she's never seen that card in his deck before, and he explains that he's never been able to summon it because he can never keep weak monsters on the field long enough to tribute for it. But the point, he explains, is that that was a combo that his deck could always do. He just never thought of it until he and Jaden started training to beat Zane. He bets that there are all kinds of cool moves and combos that her witchcrafters can pull off that she doesn't even realize yet, and he offers to practice with her and help her study until they're both strong enough to fight the next Shadow Rider who comes along. Before he can finish speaking, however, Blair leans across and plants a soft kiss on his lips, and then asks if he'd like to play a match, and the two play cards together in the grass. No duel discs required. Back on the beach, Chaz is currently in the lead with Light and Darkness Dragon on the field with 1,300 attack points and a face-down card in play, while Alexis only has Blade Skater and Etwell Cyber on the field. She plays Polymerization, which Light and Darkness Dragon negates by decreasing its attack points to 800. Alexis remarks that she just needed to get rid of his dragon's effect for the rest of the turn, and activates Machine Angel Ritual, tributing both of her monsters in order to summon Cyber Angel Izana. Izana's effect destroys his face-down Drowning Mirror Force trap card, clearing the field for her to attack Chaz's dragon. It's destroyed, ending the duel in Alexis's favor. Chaz is stunned, unable to believe that he lost. He drops to his knees and punches the sand, demanding to know why he keeps losing. Alexis comes over and kneels beside him, asking what's really wrong. And he confesses that he just can't please his brothers. They were both prodigies in their fields, and expect him to be just as good as them. They have plans for him once he joins the pro dueling circuit, and he just can't live up to those expectations. He begins to cry, and Alexis pulls him into a warm hug. She tells him that he's an amazing duelist, maybe even better than Jaden and Zane, but as long as he's living his life for his brothers, he'll never reach his full potential. They break apart, and he asks if she really means that. She tells him that she does. She also tells him that unless he starts living his life for himself, he'll never win a girl like her. They smile at one another, and he genuinely feels better. He thanks her for the duel, and they both start back towards Obelisk Dorm. As the sun is setting over Duel Academy, Jaden can be found digging a hole in the woods. Once it's deep enough, he takes out his old deck, looking sadly at his old Ubel card. He slips the deck into a box and drops it in the dirt before filling in the hole. Reluctantly, the Slifer boy turns away and walks back towards the dorm. As we push in on the hole in the ground, we hear a sad voice calling after him. Jaden! Where are you going? And this concludes our special Valentine's Day presentation. I hope this episode gave one or two of you the feels, and that you enjoyed digressing from the plot for a few minutes. We'll be back to our regular episode format next time with Part 5, where Chaz's story will continue in a big way as the next Shadow Rider comes to Duel Academy. And if you want to see more of the relationship between Alexis and Chaz, Cyrus and Blair, and Jaden and Ubel, why don't you subscribe to the channel? If you haven't already, becoming a subscriber really helps me out and helps me get content out more quickly, so I would appreciate it from the very heart of my cards. Yes, I just said that out loud. I'm almost 30. Everybody stay safe and stay healthy, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye!